he's a little pretentious. He knows he's strong. He knows his skills. So he always thinks that he's going to resolve the thing very, easily. And he always protecting Laureline, saying, stay for backup, I'm going to go to the fire, kind of. And actually, he can't do it without her. He needs her. It's, they have to work. You're always stronger when you two than when you're by yourself, for sure. So, and he knows that. What's interesting in the film is there's a moment where, Laureline lost him, and she has to save him, and she's doing the job. But that just right after, he lost her, and he also has to do the job to find her and save her. And so they're very complementary together. And he's also a little, he's made by the rules. He's a military guy. So the rules are the rules, and you follow the rules. She's much more, she has a heart. So rules are good, but what about if you come to a situation where you have to be human? And that's where she's coming. Because otherwise, if she's not there, he will stick to the rules and probably take the wrong decision. But she's here to push him and say, work with your heart, not your brain for once, Laureline is different from Lilou from The Fifth Element, or, Matilda from Léon, or Joan of Arc. She's different, and I love that. I love to show women when they're strong. It's not just like one image. You can be strong different way. And Aung San Suu Kyi, the Burma's leader, is strong in her own way. And Joan of Arc is fighting with a sword, which is not Aung San Suu Kyi at all, but she's also fighting, with her femininity. And then Lilou is the supreme being. So it's also something different. She has all the power. Laureline is a kind of like normal girl. She's a cop. She's working. If we do the film today, it will be Starkey and Hutch, and she will play Hutch. Or Mr. and Mrs. Smith, but in space. So she studied. She tried to, have a good position in life. She's a woman. She has her own, view on the thing, but she's normal in a way. We have to go back a long time ago when I was 10 years old, and there's this comic book every Wednesday. It was on the kiosk, as we say in France. And I have to wait every Wednesday to take this booklet called Pilot. And inside, I discovered the two first pages of the first album of Valerian when I was 10 years old. And I was like, oh my God, what is this thing? Especially Laureline, because at 10 years old, you start to get feelings. And then I think Laureline is probably my first love. I fall in love with her, and Valerian, I just want to be Valerian. I just want to be the hero. And so I really get involved since then, waiting every Wednesday to get 2 more pages. And then the first album, and then 29 albums after that. And I always been totally passionate. But what was interesting is I was passionate, but I never thought about making a film about it. I really have to wait The Fifth Element when I was working with Mézières. Mézières is the main designer from Valerian. He's the creator of Valerian and Laureline. And I met with him, and then he works on The Fifth Element. And then he was the one saying, why you don't do Valerian? Why you do this Fifth Element thing? And I never thought about it because it was just part of my childhood and my souvenir. And then, but then start to scratch my head and say, yeah. And I read the albums again, and it was not possible to make the films at all. I mean, the technology was not good at the time, and it's like aliens everywhere and worlds everywhere. And it was just impossible. So I put that on the side, and then it's way later. Then I start to think about it again, and then Avatar arrived, and Avatar makes everything possible. I think what struck me with the comic book is the storytelling. It was the first time in the 70s that we see a couple, modern, the girl, kick-ass all the time. The guy's a little pretentious and stupid. I mean, they were very free, in the way of telling a story. It was not about the superhero with the cape, or it was much more light and much more enjoyable. And the environment was just crazy. I mean, they were acting like two normal cops today, except that they are on the 28th century and everything is weird. What was important in Valerian is not to betray the Christin and Mézières, the two fathers of Valerian. I explained to them at the beginning, I said, listen, I can read the album in 20 minutes. I'm going to make a film 2 hours long. I have to extra write a few things. And they totally understand. They say, oh, yeah, yeah, of course. So try to keep the essence of each character in by listing, with words, like hard ass, stubborn, funny, whatever are the names. You put the list of Valerian and Laureline. You try to define your characters, and when you're writing, you try to always go back to this list to be sure that you still in the area of them, and then the relationship between the two. That was the most. There is a twist that I use in the film. And then that's where I go back to the original comic book. Is we are in a crazy world in the 28th century, but their lives, their feeling, their emotion is everybody can relate to it. I think even if you don't like sci-fi, you will still love them for who they are and the way they bickering together. And so Valerian is getting out of the military school, so he's a tough guy. He knows his job. He's a little pretentious. He always thinks that he will save the day, and he's the guy. He's handsome. He's a real charmer. He has lots of conquests. Everything is a little too easy for him, except his past, because we understand that he loses parents very young. So there's a failure somewhere here that he hide a little bit, and he basically doesn't want to commit, because girls are falling too fast, too easy for him. Except one, which is Laureline, and Laureline is very old-fashioned. I have one love, to be married and have children, and that's it. She's very, very well-centered and very, strict. And they both have a real sense of what's wrong and what's right, and the honor. They're militaries, so they're pretty well-centered and honest. I mean, it's the kind of people you can count on, for sure, both of them. So Alpha Station, which is the city of the thousand planets, in fact, started in 1975 with Soyuz and Apollo, when they meet for the first time in space. And then the European arrived, and then the Chinese arrived, and the European Committee, and then they start the first station that we know today, who is already there. There's a couple of people right now in it. And then we go to 2025, when more people come in, and then 2100. And for the first time, I mean, the space station is now almost a mile of diameter, but the first aliens are coming now. And they say, can we be part of the space station? We welcome them. So the first alien, the Korten Dauk, comes and link to the space station that they baptized Alpha. But very soon, other aliens are coming, and another aliens, and another aliens, and then a couple of centuries later, 500 years later, the space station is now 18 miles of diameters, and 12 millions of people are living in it. And Alpha, called the City of Thousand Planets, because all the knowledge in the universe is there. So the first mission they have at the beginning of the film is a mission to a planet called Kirian. Kirian is known because there is a big market in it. It's actually the biggest mall in the universe. There's 1 million shops on 500 levels. It's gigantic. The problem is this supermarket is not in our dimension. It's in another dimension. So to be able to see the market, you have to put a helmet. You can rent one. You put your visors, and through the visor, you're going to see the big market. But if you take your glasses out, you're in a desert. There's nothing. So there's two worlds in the same time. So everybody has a letter who appear on the head. For us, for human, it's a U. But for the Martapurai, it's a M. So you see the different aliens in the environment. So you can go in this market and then you can buy anything. But you're gonna wonder how we can buy if it's another world. Very simple. You have some gloves with dots. And then you can, if you have your gloves in the other world, you can take a glass, for example. You take the glass. If you don't have the gloves, then you're gonna do this and you can't take the glass. How you take your glass back to your world? You go to a big machine. It's a kind of like X-ray machine at the airport called transmatter. You put the glass, it goes in, you tape your genetic code, and then you appear on the other way. So you take your glove out, and then now I can take my glass in my world. So basically you can sell a product in 5 different dimensions. So the first time I met Dane was in a restaurant. I've seen a couple of his films and I really like him as an actor. And I went to the meeting, to the lunch, very open-minded. And after 10 seconds, he smiled, he say hi, and that's it. I knew just the tone of his voice, the sparkling in his eyes and his smile. I said, God, that's him for sure. And I knew it was him. I mean, I have absolutely no doubt about that. Then 10 seconds later, I start fearing because I say, oh my God, if he say no, I'm in the shit now because I won't be able to forget this guy. And luckily, he read the script and he called me back right away and said, oh my God, it's crazy. I mean, so that was very good. Laureline was a little bit different because I knew Cara from the modeling world a little bit, and my first concern was to be sure that she's serious. You cannot go for 100 days with someone not serious about the job. It's just impossible. So I have to check first, is she granted, if she really wants to do this job or not. She has the capacity physically. I mean, she's gorgeous to film, so that's done for sure. Now, can she play? But before that, does she really wants to play? To do her, as a real future. And I was surprised to see her because she said, I want to act since I'm 4 years old. I don't want to be a model. I mean, I became a model because someone found me in the street, but what I want to do since the beginning is acting. And and I think she's a natural born actress. When you see her in life, she's just like a kangaroo. She can play everything all the time. And so I was kind of amazed and very attracted, by her. But I didn't say yes right away. I make her wait, and I've seen her a few times. I need to know if she has the strength to go for 100 days. And I think people will be surprised, how deep she can go and how natural she can be on the film. She's made for films, for sure. We have a very gorgeous and fabulous character called Bubble, played by Rihanna. It's a little mysterious for now because I don't want to say too much about her. But she's in reality a glamopod. And a glamopod is an alien who has this capacity in half a second to take any shape they want. And they can even come on your shoulder and recovers you, and for you to be able to look like another alien. Or so it's a very specific characters. But what's interesting is their mind, because for them they're transformers in a way, but they're artists. So they learn at school, and they are really, really artists deeply in their, like very, they're always very dramatic on everything, and they're the ultimate actresses, in fact. And so for them, it's not just a physical capacity, it's an art. It's playing, and most of these artists, most of these glamopods, they know Shakespeare by heart, Molière, Rimbaud, Verlaine, they know everything. They're very the ultimate artist alive. So it's very interesting. So for Bubble, the character of Bubble, the question was like, who is the best person to play it? And my first answer naturally was Rihanna. And everyone say, yeah, you're dreaming. And I say, okay, let's find someone. If you don't try, you never know. And sometimes you're right at the right moment, sometimes not. So you never know. And then it was very complicated to meet her because she's one day in New York, one day in Tokyo, and then it's a nightmare to meet her. And finally we met. And my first question was like, are you interested by playing? Because you're the queen of the music. She's, for me, the number one in the world. And you're not obliged to play in a film. Do you want that? And my question was very simple but very straightforward, and her answer was very honest. And she said, I'm a beginner on acting, but I want so much to learn, and I want so much to play. I want to try that, because music I know, but this I don't know. And unless I'm with someone good, she said, not me, I won't learn. So, and I was very touched by that because it was very, very flat, very honest. She knows, she obviously not scared of the camera, for sure. You know, she play in the front of thousands of people, so she's not scared. But she admits since the beginning that, you know, here I am, I'm new, I'm fresh. Basically, take me and, you know, do something with me. And that was just perfect for me. The two creators, Mézières and Christin, I need their involvement because the last thing I want is for them to feel betrayed. It's very important for me. I'm here because I love them, and they nourish me for so many years that I don't want to disappoint them for sure. So I give them the script to write, and they were very, very happy. They have a couple of notes which I actually love that I integrate right away. There's two or three that I didn't like that I argue with them and say, okay, I don't like it for this reason. And they say, yeah, okay, I understand. So it was very, very fair play, very open. And then they come on the set. But I must say that the moment they come on the set, they were 12 years old. They were like, it was like suddenly for them coming in a 3D, you know, their drawings in 3D. So suddenly, you know, Cara arrived with the spacesuit and say, "Oh my God, that's my dad. Hey, how are you?" And they were like, they couldn't barely talk to her. They were like, they couldn't talk. And they stay for days on the set. They were coming often. And they were just like happy, like kids, really. Like it was, it bring me tears few times just to see them, because suddenly I can see in their eyes what I was at 10 years old when I read their comic book. I have the same face, you know, when I was 10. And it was just you know, the return of emotion, and it was just amazing to see them.